It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Tuesday, the 27th of September. I'm Michael Groff. Generally speaking, temperatures will be trending down over the next several days, albeit still remaining above average through the forecast period. Scattered showers and thunderstorms possible over the higher terrain of northern and eastern Arizona. A few storms possible here in the desert, but that will only be tomorrow and perhaps into Thursday, and then we should start to dry out here. And the big story in the weather world remains on Hurricane Ian. We'll get you an update on that as well as we dive in and discuss. First, we'll take a look at that almanac from yesterday. 105 degrees, the afternoon high, 77 the morning low. Those are definitely above those averages of 97 and 74. Looking out there now, here after 9 a.m., we've got a few clouds and 91 degrees at Sky Harbor. Dew point up at 52, relative humidity 26%. It is breezy, wind from the east-northeast at 16, and the barometer is rising. The weather pattern across the country right now features a ridge out here across the western states and a trough in the east. This has been how it has been for a while and how it will continue. And that trough in the east is going to help to escort Ian further to the north and northeast in time. The watch warning map, obviously, about the only concern across the nation is over Florida with Ian making its approach. We've got hurricane warnings now for Pinellas, Hillsborough, Manatee, Sarasota counties further to the south, all the way down to Key West. Hurricane watches further to the north for Hernando, Pasco, Citrus counties. We've got tropical storm warnings inland, tropical storm watches, and hurricane watches elsewhere as well. And we've got storm surge warnings for the west central coast of Florida in anticipation of that. And, obviously that's going to be an impact tomorrow evening as the storm makes its very gradual landfall. And as if that's not enough, we've got tornado watches now across South Florida as those feeder bands from Ian make their way northward. And so in any one of those bands of the heavier precipitation, we could start to see some little spin-up tornadoes. That's always a concern, and that's why on the convective outlook, we've got that risk of severe storms. Yes, squally conditions, some gusty winds, and isolated tornadoes from the feeder bands of that system across central and south Florida today, tonight, and for a while into the future as that continues to make its trek northward. Here in Arizona, we're in the green, at least over part of the state, so thunderstorms possible. I really think the risk of storms here in south central Arizona and the Phoenix area today, very, very low, but not zero. We saw a couple little storms pop up last night, one very close to Studio B here in Avondale, a couple over the southeast valley, some lightning, some wind, and even a few raindrops. We could see that again tonight, a slightly better chance tomorrow. All right, looking at the tropics. Yeah, we've got a system out there over the central and eastern Atlantic that has a high chance to develop into a tropical system, but it's going to move to the north, gain latitude. It probably doesn't last long anyway. Drier air and stronger winds should not allow that to continue for too long. But out there now moving, it's moved across Cuba. We're talking about Hurricane Ian, and there's that well-defined eye as it has crossed over Cuba now into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, southwest of Key West. And top winds have come down slightly, now down to 115 miles an hour. This is still a major hurricane, folks, and it is still expected to intensify at least for a little while today and tonight into early Wednesday and become a Category 4 hurricane. But then some shear aloft will begin to gradually weaken it as it approaches the west coast of Florida tomorrow evening. Let me zoom in on the latest track from the Hurricane Center. This is across central Florida here. And now the official track, and I know we don't want to get too caught up on the exact track, although that does have some serious implications. But if we were to take this at face value, which we won't, but if we were to do so, the Hurricane Center has this making landfall almost right at Venice tomorrow night at 8 p.m., pretty close to Sarasota, right there in Sarasota and Manatee counties, and moving it gradually to the northeast and taking it into extreme eastern Hillsborough County by 8 a.m. on Thursday. Now, again, in this exact path, Tampa Bay would probably not see quite the storm surge that the forecast currently has there, which is 5 to 10 feet. It may actually be a bit less, and the storm surge would be significantly more across Sarasota and Manatee counties. But please note, and I think this cannot be emphasized enough, that Clearwater and St. Pete and Tampa Bay, Hillsborough Bay, McKay Bay, Tampa, you are still in the cone of uncertainty. You are still in the margin of error, as are places to the east as well. So, this track is probably going to pivot back and forth a bit over the next 12 hours or so. The Hurricane Center will pin this down, but the confidence is growing, and it is good to see the shift to the right for the Tampa Bay area. But by no means does this at all mean you're out of the woods. I know there's talk about this system weakening as it approaches. Oh, it might only be a Category 2. That's not bad at all. Let me tell you, a Category 2 storm, if you don't think that's serious, look back at Hurricane Sally. That's all the way back in 2020, all right? And that hit Baldwin and Escambia counties. That hit the coast of Alabama, extreme west coast of the panhandle of Florida, and it just sat there. This thing slowed down and nearly stalled out there, dumped 10 to 20 inches of rain, 100-mile-per-hour winds. That's what you see in Category 2s, winds at or over 100 miles an hour at times. So, the trees in Florida, here in Arizona, our trees, our water table is very low. Our trees are in the ground. It's very hard ground here. It takes a lot to knock a tree over in Phoenix. In Florida, the water tables are higher. The ground is much softer. They experience significantly more precipitation. Trees there are not usually snapped as much as they are blown over, especially in a storm like this. That rain, there's just nowhere for that water to go. It just makes the ground so much softer, so much easier to knock trees down. When trees fall down, they take out power lines, they take out homes, they take out businesses. And this storm is just going to be moving very slow, extremely strong winds, hurricane force winds for a period of 12 to 24 hours over these areas, and that rain. And that's the other part of this storm that is frankly terrifying, and that's the rain amounts that we're looking at here. Anywhere from 10 to 15 inches of rain over parts of Tampa Bay. We could see 17 inches is what this is the WPC forecast they have for St. Pete. And if the track goes a little further east, that the heaviest rain may move ever so slightly to the east, but regardless, extreme amounts of rain, flooding from rain is going to be a problem, and there's nowhere for that water to go. And the wind is just going to continue to batter these areas as well. So, and then on top of that, we will have the threat of isolated tornadoes for an extended period of time along and east of that circulation center. So this, again, maybe this is not the absolute worst case scenario if this pans out as advertised, but it is still very bad, and that cannot be emphasized enough. We don't do hype here on these weather videos. You know that. You've watched me for years now. We don't talk hype. We don't say anything to scare you. We just tell you what is out there, what the probabilities are, and we outline everything for you so that you can get a better idea. And people say, well, Mike, you talk Phoenix, Arizona weather. Why are we focused so much on this? Because so many of you over the years have told me that you like to take a look at these extreme weather events across the nation. So that's why we do focus on these when they pop up. Now, you see this rainfall graphic and you say, oh my goodness, that 15, 17 inches of rain. Remember, here in Phoenix, we get 7 to 8 inches of rain a year. They will see as much rain as we get in 2 or 3 years in 2 to 3 days. By comparison, this is the rain that we should expect over the next 7 days here. This is valid through Tuesday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, how about nothing? Statewide, not much. A little bit to the south, a little bit to the north. Now, could we see an isolated storm tomorrow or Thursday? Yes. And, your amount will vary on this graphic, but we do not expect any widespread significant precipitation anytime soon. We are kind of entering into our secondary dry season, and we'll talk about that in more detail right now as we take a look at those models. Let's see what's going on. Here we go. The GFS. This is the 06Z run valid 2 o'clock this afternoon. High pressure is the rule out here across the west. Heights above average. So once again, down at the surface, sunny sky and another hot day. Highs, 102, 104. Tonight, mostly clear sky. Yes, an isolated storm not out of the question across south central Arizona. We have not put any rain into the forecast for tonight here in Phoenix, but, some spot could see some blowing dust or a little bit of lightning, a few raindrops, but overall, we expect dry conditions here. And overnight lows mainly in the 70s to low 80s. Now, tomorrow, a bit of an increase in moisture. Widely scattered showers and thunderstorms around. We'll put a 20% chance of rain into the forecast here for tomorrow evening. High temperatures tomorrow, still upper 90s to about 103. You can see there's Ian, and it is approaching the west central coast of Florida now here on the GFS. And let's go to Thursday, and you can see, we changed the map. It just hasn't moved much. I mean, this thing is barely moving over that 24-hour period from tomorrow afternoon to Thursday afternoon. And just incredible rain there. Now, for us, a few showers and thunderstorms over the higher terrain, an isolated storm possible here, but overall, we are still hot and relatively dry. High temperatures, upper 90s to about 103. And temps will trend down just ever so slightly by Friday. Highs right around the century mark. There you can see Ian is still lurking around in North Florida, maybe moving into Georgia at some point by late Friday and into Saturday. And as we go to the weekend here for us, a trough passes by, a few showers and storms for northern Arizona perhaps, and we will see temperatures lower to the mid to upper 90s, but that's still a couple of degrees above normal for us. And Ian still sitting there over the southeast U.S. and maybe pivoting a little bit back to the northwest, but the main rain shield now across Georgia and heading up into the Carolinas, maybe East Tennessee. On Sunday, we are still dry. You see, there is a tropical system well to the south of us, but that's not going to have any impact on our weather. We are dry, temperatures a little above average. Same thing for Monday. No real big changes. Again, a few showers and storms possible over the higher terrain, but we remain dry. All right, here's a week from today. This is Tuesday, the 4th of October. Yeah, we're in the month of October, but it's not going to really feel like it. Highs are still going to remain a little bit above average. Now, you'll notice on the GFS here, there's a little system, a little clipper type system that's going to come down the east side of the Rockies. And yeah, that might bring some breezy conditions and slightly cooler temperatures for us, but I am skeptical of this solution. Either way, I still expect temps to remain in the mid to upper 90s and then going out 10 days. This is Thursday, the 6th of October. And it's more of the same. High pressure and control, dry conditions to continue, temperatures remaining above normal. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix going out through the 11th of October. This is coming off of the GFS ensemble. And the mean is up there just over 1/4 of an inch. You've got quite a few of the members that think that we will see some rain today or tomorrow or maybe Thursday here. But when I say rain, I mean, we're talking maybe a few hundredths of an inch at best. And most of the period looks fairly dry. And then as we look at temperatures, off the national blend of models, highs still remaining above average. Now, we may put an end to the triple digits for a while here and see highs in the mid to upper 90s, but overall, that's still a couple of degrees above normal even for early October. Normal high on October 1st, 95 degrees. And so we are likely to be at or just a bit above that. And those overnight lows still in the 70s. But at least with the drier air, the outlying valley areas and if you're away from the urban core, lows should get down into the 60s. And that is going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video back here tomorrow morning. If you enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell. Leave those comments, questions, suggestions. Music fans, it is there 24/7, 365. The streaming station that everybody loves. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music. We have a lot of fun doing that. We consists of myself and just down the stairs from me, the one and only Asian sensation, Michelle, hard at work and also in the chat, hanging out. And so, yes, we work tirelessly and relentlessly to provide you with an entertaining quality station. And the best part is it's free. I mean, come on, man. If it's free, give me 3. All right. So I leave a link to it down in the description. So do check it out. All right. Thank you so much for watching. All of your continued support. It is greatly appreciated. You guys be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and have yourselves a beautiful Tuesday.